Hello, today I want to introduce you to my new series in RimWorld. As you could understand from the name of the video, we will play for the colony of surgeons. If you saw that we will save everyone we see and open the largest hospital in the history of RimWorld, then you are a little mistaken. In this scenario, I will play as 5 colonies who will be united by one and the same character trait, and this trait is called psychopathy. From live raiders and random bystanders, we will cut all the organs we can. And we will cut the corpses into meat and skin. In fact, I do not plan to make a colony of cannibals, so neither meat nor skin will be used in our household. We will sell all the resources that we will extract from the enemies. Our buyers will be space merchants and friendly caravans that will come to our map. I think I have sufficiently explained the essence of this scenario and suggest to start playing. I wish you a good viewing. My name is Johny, and here we go. It all started with the fact that 5 of my colonies landed on the large area with quite a good number of mountains that acted as a very good defense on some sides of the map. Basically, the enemy could not attack me from the right side and from the bottom of the map, because this entire part of map was covered with solid mountains. The first thing we did was start the construction of a small house where we immediately installed 3 single beds and 1 double bed for our colonists. In general, the relation of my colonies with each other were quite interesting. These were 2 ordinary colonies and plus 1 family, a man, a woman and the father of this man, whom, by the way, his daughter-in-law did not like at all. We also installed torches to light the room and decided that it is important to cover the wooden floor simply so as not to constantly walk on dirt. We immediately planned the construction of a table for dissecting corpses, a table for eating, together with chairs, and also a table for research. Well, of course, we thought about the fact that we need shelves to place our resources. And we also took the stone fragments to the street in front of the house. I understood that it is very important for our colony to immediately have a refrigerator where we will store our meat, which will be very much. So even before completing the research table, I have already chosen 2 for research. These are batteries and solar panels. I also decided that it would be very nice to put a chess table so that my colonies do not get bored very much in their free time from work. I laid a wooden floor right in front of the entrance to the house in order to reduce the amount of dirt and garbage that my colonies bring from the street. And in general, it even helped, and I almost did not do general cleaning during the game. And I also did not forget about wooden dressers that give little bonus to all beds that are near it. At some point I realized that it would be good to install a table for cutting stones in order. Firstly, not to waste time because some of my colonies were hanging around idle. And secondly, we really need good and strong walls to build our future defense. When stone fragments began to process it into blocks, ready on an almost industrial scale, I realized that there would be no room for them in our warehouse. But I also knew that the finished stone blocks would not spoil on the street, so I simply ordered to transfer all the blocks to the area in front of house that was intended for the storage of stone fragments from the very beginning. By the way, at this point I resorted the battery and it's time to build them. I decided that I will build them away from a house so that in the event of battery explosion or a short circuit, the blast wave will not affect my people and my resources. For batteries, I built a small room with stone walls and placed only 3 batteries in it. But I can easily say that these 3 will be more than enough for the first time. The first guests came to our map, and of course I will not attack them in any way, because friendly colonies are very important for us from the point of view of trade. After all, if we cut the organs of all ordinary people, we'll be able to trade only with sparse merchants, who do not appear very often. Therefore, friendly relation with everyone who is a member of our friendly faction is a priority for us. But we can easily turn any raiders as well as independent space refugees into our source of income. Slowly, we started building at least some kind of defense. First of all, we built a wall that will block a fairly spacious approach to our base, and left only a small passage a little lower. I decided to do some Spartan cosplay and be able to hold off large crowds of enemy with a few colonies and of course defensive turrets. By the way, as always, the food came to us by itself. At this time it was a mad squirrel that decided that it would be very smart to attack our fighter with SMG. And immediately after that we finished searching solar panels and decided that it would be wise to build 2 units at once. When the construction was finished, all that remained was to wait for the morning and check the functionality of our solar generators. And electric lamps were also immediately installed, which illuminate much better than torches and also do not create excessive heat, which for example will play a bad joke on us in the case of hellish heat. Later, I decided to make a small change in the house, and after digging up a little stone rock, I installed walls on all sides of the house, which will give a bonus to the attractiveness, because the raw stone rock that was there before gives only the buffs to the attractiveness of the room. Well, of course, with these actions I also slightly increased the area of our house. Unfortunately, our married couple decided to separate. The woman left her husband. Well, then it's time to make 2 more beds for our now lonely colonists. Even after the divorce, they decided to sleep next to each other, only in separate beds. But I decided that it wouldn't work like that and it was necessary to change the places of my colonists. And I sent my husband to the man and sent another female colonist to my ex-wife. In the meantime, the construction of the refrigerator began. I made a small room with double walls that will prevent unwanted temperatures from entering, both inside and outside the refrigerator. And of course installed shelves for compact storage of our food and resources. It was at this time that the first Lone Raider decided to attack us. In general, I was not very afraid because I understood that we were much stronger than him. We even prepared a jail for him in case he survived. When he approached, 2 of my colonists opened fire on him. My colonists shooting him with a rifle accidentally hit a rabbit that was just walking in the line of fire. But we still managed to kill the enemy before he could do any damage to my colonists. Quite a large amount of nitramine fell from the sky, which we will use to create good medicines. And it was also time to install an electric stove in order to cook food, because our supply of dry rations was already nearing its end. By the way, the room for prisoners was completed and eagerly awaited its future residents. But as it's clear, no one had to live in it for a very long time. At one point, I decided to destroy a giant fragment of an ancient combat robot, but after spending almost a whole day shooting at it with 3 barrels, I realized that this was a completely useless task, since we barely even scratched it in all this time. And then I decided that it was necessary to build a killbox. In general, the idea was very simple and we had enough resources. I began the construction of reasonable passage under a slope that made it as inconvenient as possible for the enemy to pass through, and also built a wall of embrasures with the help of which my fighters and turrets will be able to fire on anyone who will try to break into our base. And I also laid a steel floor so that no plants could grow on the line of fire that could interfere with shooting at the enemy. And of course, around all the walls and embrasures I put barricades that will catch debris and will not allow the enemies to press against the wall of the killbox to escape from my fire. I decided that it was time to little strengthen our walls that protect the upper part of our base. To do this, I added another layer of stone. And I also decided to disassemble all the wreckage of spaceships that are on my map, which in the end gave me quite a lot of such valuable components for us. By the way, a dry thunderstorm began, which was quite fatal for us and the entire map as a whole. And we began to put out any flames that flared up on the territory of our base. One of the lightning even hit several cells from our solar panels. We were very lucky that it missed. Since we needed food, we started a big hunt and killed all the deer we saw. We went hunting several times a day in order to bring home as much meat and skin as possible. And in general, it did not cause of any difficulties at all. In the end, I converted the wooden walls of our house into strong and stone ones. Now you cannot be afraid of fire at all, and generally not be afraid that someone will be able to get inside our house very quickly. Another raider attack, this time 4 of them. Well, it's time to test our kill box, and it would be nice to have a few enemies alive for organs transplants. The only thing I can say is that at this moment, the killbox has shown itself to be as effective as possible. At least we will be able to hold back small groups of melee fighters, and I think that if we arm our fighters better and add turrets, it will be perfect. We were able to capture one raider and provided him with the necessary medical assistance as quickly as possible. And after he got better, we gradually cut out one of his kidneys, then, after a while, one of his lungs, and finished by cutting out his heart. Now we have 3 organs, for a total of about 1500 units of silver, and we can also process his corpse into meat and skin, which we will also sell for about 200 or 300 units of silver. A rabbit animal decided to attack us again. This time it was a deer that attacked 3 of my colonies at once and was knocked to the ground by a sniper shot. The space for storing resources was becoming less and less, and because of this I decided to build a few more racks. I hope they will be enough for at least a little more. Clothes fell from the sky, among which was a military officer's hat. And one of my colonists decided that it would suit him very well and immediately put it on. A large caravan of merchants came to our map, from whom we bought a lot of really useful resources for us in exchange for the skin of animals and people. And we did not even sell organs because we had enough simple resources that we obtained from the corpses of our enemies. In fact, this already says a lot about my plan to trade everything that people are made of. And this method of earning has already begun to show itself very well. We explored the basics of microelectronics, which enabled us to build trading beacons and a communication console. Basically all we need for space trading. In order to install the communication console, I even added an additional room at the entrance to our house. By the way, I decided that it was time to install an advanced research table. For this I dug a small room just for this table. But here I found out that I don't have enough steel, so I sent my colonists to get it from the nearest steel deposit. I also started another big hunt when we were suddenly attacked by another group of raiders, as last time the killbox proved to be simply incredible. Our colonists with a machine gun destroyed enemies literally in several rounds. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to capture anyone at all this time, but we'll still get meat and skin, so I'm not worried about it at all. I installed a machine table. We will need it a lot in the future when we will craft armor and weapons. Unless of course we can buy them from the merchants and exchange them for parts of our enemies. A shuttle with independent refugees fell from the sky, and I immediately understood that this was my chance to farm as many organs as possible. As quickly as possible I sent my colonists to help and delivered our prisoners to their cells. I think they didn't even imagine what was waiting for them. Little by little with breaks, I removed the kidneys and lungs from my prisoners. A little more and the final operation on the heart will be performed, but they must be given a rest. Meanwhile, one of my unarmed colonists was attacked by a rabid raccoon. In fact, I was very scared and did not know at all how it would end. But my colonist impressed me. very pleasantly and was able to fight the wild animal with his bare hands. Meanwhile, all the surgical operations were completed, and now I have a rather impressive number of organs that will bring me around 3 or 4,000 units of silver. By the way, I again expanded the warehouse by adding several new racks and of course continued to mine dependent steel. With this, I would like to conclude the first part of our RimWorld series. I hope you like it. If so, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel and also watch other videos on my channel. Johny was with you. Goodbye.